Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey.
This is a bi-weekly horror podcast in which two horror fans discuss all things horror, including news, recent watches, collectibles, and more.
I am one of your co-hosts. I am Casey.
And I'm Sam. And
let's get screaming. We were way off on that one, Sam.
What? That was like one of our best ones from my end.
Oh, I think audience out there that is listening, please let us know if we were off or on. I don't know. I think we were off.
I thought we were pretty on.
Sam.
Yeah.
We got a jam-packed episode. This is the second time we are going live on the internet for a recording of Screams from the Basement, if I am not mistaken. This is our second time doing this. Last time went really well. We had some people interacting live. We hope as we continue this, people will do the same as they kind of trickle in throughout the show. We'll try to keep people up to date. We'll try to use this StreamYard maybe a little bit better to keep people informed where we are in the show. I can start adding some stuff in here to let people know where we're at and stuff. But yeah, Sam, what's going on today? What are we doing here? Why are we on a podcast? What's going on? What is the world? There's aliens out there, Sam. What are we doing?
There's aliens, and we're talking about Ty West movies.
Hey, there's a connection here between the title of this. I don't know what's going on. It's Cowboys versus Aliens somewhere in there. I don't know.
Hey, I did watch his Western right before we are on right now. It's pretty good too. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, even though it's not horror.
Hey, we're going straight to the Wild Wild Ty West.
The Wild Wild Ty West.
The Wild Wild Ty West. I think it's a fitting title.
Which is really what he should have called In a Valley of Violence.
Wild Wild Ty West, yeah.
Yeah.
Just go full meta with it.
Yep. Oh, hello.
Oh, who's
Burton's
here?
Back.
Hello.
Hey, Burton.
Welcome. We are talking Ty West movie. So as people trickle in here as we get going with the show, Sam, there's something we didn't talk about that I want to just throw out here at the beginning, and we'll do it at the end.
Oh, okay.
Let's rank our Ty West horror movies.
Oh,
I say
100%.
I say horror movies because I didn't watch the Western.
That's okay. Literally.
You can throw yours in there if you want.
I remember specifically saying when I picked the topic, but not his spaghetti Western. And then I went and watched his spaghetti Western anyways.
So we won't throw that. You can throw that one in there if you want. Yeah. I won't. And we won't throw in his VHS segment as well.
Yeah. Or I'm not going to lie. I'm not counting Cabin Fever 2, not just because I haven't seen it, but because Ty West himself disowns it. And
you can probably figure out where it's at in my list, but I'm sure to include it. Yeah.
If I included it, it would be last, but I haven't seen it, so I don't feel right putting it last. So, boom.
Okay, it's last. It's spoilers. It's last.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Before we get to Mr. Ty West, this is your topic. We can talk about it a little later. Why you chose this topic.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, what's the first thing we got going on here? I guess I kind of threw this in here, Sam. I changed the name of the news.
I love the name.
I changed the name of the news. We're bringing it back whenever the hell we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our show. It's probably going to change every couple of months, guys.
Yeah, it is. I'm kind of combining the old seller news with Casey's Toy Box. We're going to combine it into one thing in honor of the great Screamin' Mad George. What is that, Sam?
Screamin' Mad News.
We're talking some Screamin' Mad News. We have a lot of Screamin' Mad News to talk about. First thing up, Sam, I'm going to let you take one of these. I'll take the other. Does that work?
Oh my God. Okay, so the show notes just say X, but what you mean is...
No, I meant the trailer that probably Elon Musk dropped. No, Saw X.
Yeah. The Saw X trailer dropped. Oh my God. Okay, so Saw is a weird franchise for me because I am admittedly a huge fan of the first three movies. And I really liked Spiral, and everything beyond that, I don't they're not bad. They kind of blend together for me.
Mhm.
You know, like Saw is not like I don't love the franchise as a whole, but I love certain movies and certain elements of them.
Okay.
And so the Saw X trailer brings back a lot of the things that made me fall in love with this series in the first place. Jigsaw's back, Tobin Bell's back, Amanda is back, Shawnee Smith is back as Amanda, and this looks like a back to basics legit Saw movie.
Yeah.
Like Spiral kind of took it in a different direction, right? Spiral was like, what if a Saw movie was actually just kind of another like a B movie version of Seven, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it for what it was, a B movie version of Seven starring Chris Rock with a great Hello Zep drop. That said, Saw X looks incredible. We watched the trailer together at your house.
Yeah.
Minutes after it dropped because I got so excited. And I screamed multiple times during that trailer out of pure joy. What did you think of Saw X?
I thought it was fine. I thought the trailer was fine. And I say that in the nicest way possible because I don't love this series. For me, the best one is probably part 2, and that's only like a 3-star movie for me.
Oh, see, part 2 is like, I think both 1 and 2 are 4-star movies for me.
Yeah, for me, like 1 and 2 are probably both around 3 stars. I would rather put on 2 than 1 type of thing.
Gotcha.
The rest just blend together for me. I couldn't tell you what happens in Saw 3 from Saw 19. I don't know.
Yeah,
crazy stuff that doesn't make any sense happens in them. I haven't seen Spiral yet. Jigsaw really put a sour taste in my mouth. I think that is one of the worst, if not the worst, of the series.
That's the only one of the series I have not seen yet. I'm very curious about that one because I've heard you say things like it's awful, and I've heard Blake say things like,
Blake, you're a crazy person.
Blake
Jigsaw
loves
is awful.
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw is awful.
I'm unbelievably excited for Saw X. Just as excited as I was when the first Spiral trailer dropped.
I'll probably be watching this in theaters, though. I haven't seen a single Saw movie in the theater.
Oh, really?
So this will be a first for me. Kind of like Halloween 2018 was a first Halloween in the theater for me. Saw X will be my first go around. I skipped, like I said, Spiral. I didn't see Jigsaw in the theater. The rest were kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't into horror when the other Saws were coming out every single year. I'll be there. It looks better than most of the Saws. It doesn't have that terrible green, gross filter over them. It looks fun. That's what I'll say. I don't know if it's going to make any sense since it's supposed to fit like between 1 and 2, correct?
I think so. I think it's supposed to fit between
I'm kind of hoping
it
doesn't. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't make any sense. I think that's the fun of the Saw movies, of like the timeline and the continuity is just
insane,
awful. It's worse than the X-Men movies.
Saw X this time is Chandra, our friend, says Saw X this time it is the final chapter, maybe possibly.
Well, not until the next one comes out.
I was about to say, not if I go see it 50 times like I'm currently planning. I'll make that movie's budget back just personally.
Was Saw the final chapter the sixth one?
7, I believe.
7th one?
7th, yeah.
Okay,
it was the 3D one with Chester Bennington.
So that's the final chapter. So they went final chapter and 3D at the same time.
Yes, they did final chapter 3D at the same time.
At least they waited till the 10th one to do the X. I'll give them that.
I'm not going to lie. The Chester Bennington death trap is insane. It's incredible.
I remember not liking that one either. Yeah.
It's not a good movie, but the traps in it were kind of awesome.
Yeah. Sam, let's stick to my negativity here. Maybe you'll get a little negative with me. We have another trailer played before Oppenheimer, and then now is released here on the internet. The Exorcist Believer, coming out this October, 50 years after the original film, because David Gordon Green can't run just one horror franchise into the ground. He has to do it for another. Sam, what did you think of the Exorcist Believer trailer?
Hey, Boris.
Boris makes a cameo.
Boris and I did not like the Exorcist Believer trailer. I'll put this in perspective. I've watched the Saw X trailer once per day since it dropped. I am very excited for that movie. I watched the Exorcist Believer trailer once and I said, nah, I'm good. It just doesn't, I don't know. Nothing about the movie seems particularly exciting or new or interesting to me.
Sam, there's 2 spooky girls this time.
Yeah.
Boris. He gets it.
He does. Boris gets it.
No, this looks awful. Truly awful, right?
You know me, I don't like slagging on things, but like this is just something that I have no excitement for. And that's saying something because I didn't see Oppenheimer in theaters. You did. So when you came out of Oppenheimer and you were telling us like, yeah, the Exorcist Believer, like trailer looks bad. I was like, Casey hated the David Gordon Green Halloween movies. I kind of dug
2 out of the 3. Come on.
Well, yeah, okay, 2 out of the 3. So I kind of dug all 3 of those movies though. So I was like, well, I'm gonna watch this trailer. Like maybe Casey's being a fuddy-duddy. And I believe my first words after seeing the trailer, I texted all of you guys and I was like, wow, Casey was right. The Exorcist Believer looks like, I won't say it on the podcast,
they've already announced this has been announced as a trilogy. They've already announced the sequel, which is going to be called Exorcist. Something rhymes with believer.
I think it's Receiver. Or something. I don't know. Deceiver, maybe?
Deceiver. That could be right.
Yeah. Okay. I think the joke is like the third one's going to be called Receiver because it's Depeche Mode Personal Jesus lyrics.
I would rather have my pitch is for the Exorcist Fever, and it's like a 70s disco themed movie. But someone gets possessed at the disco. If David Gordon Green doesn't make it, we're going to make it.
Well, no, there's not really a good Halloween Ends joke to put in with The Exorcist because Halloween Ends is so gloriously off the rail.
Yeah.
On rollerblades.
Yes. Who wants to see a possessed little girl on rollerblades in a disco movie? That's the movie
Absolutely.
I want. Danny McBride can be in that. Danny McBride can be in that one too. I'd be happy with that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on from these.
Yeah.
I say that I'm like very lukewarm on one of them and think the other one looks awful, and I'm going to be in theaters for both.
Yeah,
I'm just
you'll probably drag me to theaters for The Exorcist, but I won't go willingly.
I won't drag you. If you want to go, you can go. I know I'm going, but we'll see.
I'm very excited for Saw X. Exorcist, I don't know. I might wait for streaming on that one, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, it's not going to do well, I don't think. Next up, Sam, what's the next thing we have on there?
Oh yeah, we've got some awesome Criterion Halloween releases. They announced what they were putting out for the month of October. And if I'm remembering correctly, here, let me pull this up. Actually,
yeah, I got them pulled up. The big ones here. The first one is the Nicole Kidman movie, The Others, which is one I have not seen. I have heard great things about it.
Yep.
I have not seen the film. I do want to. From what I'm hearing from our friends over at the Criterion Break over on the Fat Dude Digs Flicks podcast network, Andy, Blake, and Derek there, that the Criterion has a 50% off sale in November. So I might be pulling the trigger on a couple of these there. The first one is the Nicole Kidman. The Others, another big one here. The one I'm most excited for, and they're kind of the reason I put it in the news. Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers. It is a 3-pack of Todd Browning movies, including Freaks, The Unknown, and The Mystic. I have only seen Freaks. Love Freaks. It's my favorite of Todd Browning's work that I've seen. Love it. Yeah. And the fact that there's 2 other kind of like sideshow weirdo horror movies from the 20s and 30s in there. Yeah, I'm in on this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Todd Browning kind of rules.
Yeah. Also, Videodrome is getting a release for this as well. Again, I'm not the expert in the Criterion collection at all. I don't know if it's already in there, and maybe this is just like a 4K upgrade. I don't know. I haven't seen Videodrome. Have you?
No, I still
Okay.
have not. Even though it's been like 2 or 3 years since our 80s horror countdown,
Yeah.
and Blake told us both that we really needed to watch it when he played it.
Sorry, Blake, we still haven't.
Sorry, Blake. Invite us over when you get your new TV room set up.
Yeah, and we can watch the 4K Criterion of Videodrome.
Hell yeah.
What's up next, Sam? I like completely blanked where I was.
To answer your question, Silas, yes, it's spooky Canada wildfire smoke. Meant to be spooky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to breathe. I lost the app with my show notes. There we are.
I got it. I got it. Unless you got it. You got it? Okay.
I got it.
Sam's got it. We're good. What's up?
Syndicate Collectibles, Goonies 2, Pumpkinhead, and Killer Clowns.
Let's do this.
Released by Syndicate Collectibles.
All right, so this is going to be a big one here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pull these up here. San Diego Comic-Con reveals. That's what these are here. We got a couple big reveals from San Diego Comic-Con, which I believe was 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so. Weirdly, just not a whole lot about it. Just with the actors and writers strike going on, I feel like it did not make a big splash this year.
Which is good and bad, because I think the collectibles and comic book side of things kind of got to shine this year where it otherwise wouldn't.
And a little more love.
Yeah, I was definitely seeing a lot more of the action figure reveals than normally would be. First up, before we get to San Diego Comic-Con, I forgot we had these in here from last time. These are Spirit Halloween animatronics that we need to talk about because these look awesome.
Oh, these look great. I love the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, they got the Crypt Keeper. You got a Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre and one of the killer clowns from outer space. These look awesome. These are ridiculously expensive. We could be talking about these maybe towards the end of Halloween season. I don't know. We'll see if I pick any of these up. I just don't have room. I don't have room. The first one, though, that you talked about there, the Syndicate Collectibles. This is like a new company. I've never heard of them before. That has kind of made a big splash here. And this is the first one that I have on here. Ghoulies 2 4-pack, I believe, is how they're marketing these. So you get 4 Ghoulies from Ghoulies 2, the best Ghoulies movie. Go back and listen to one of our episodes a few weeks back where I ranted and raved about the Ghoulies movies, especially Ghoulies 2.
Was it our full moon episode?
I don't think so. I think it might have been after that.
Yeah, it might have been an episode or two after that.
But these
listen to both, though.
Yeah, listen to all of them. These look incredible. I love Ghoulies 2. I don't know what this is a new company. I don't know what the price point is, but I want these. So these might end up in my collection at some point.
These are really good sculpts. Like I'm impressed with them.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they come with this, the little display from Ghoulies 2. I wonder if they come with that.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Maybe.
I don't know if they do or not.
Yeah.
Here's a big one for both of us here. Pumpkinhead, 2 different sizes of Pumpkinhead.
Oh my god.
These look just incredible.
Insane,
these look amazing,
dude. Insane. I love Pumpkinhead so much.
I do. I like so I had this discussion with my buddy with Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched Pumpkinhead for the first time. He's like, I really liked it. I didn't love it. And that's how I have always felt about Pumpkinhead. I really like it. I don't love it. And I want to love it.
It's a different type of movie, really. Yeah. Like it's a vibe movie, and I feel like you're either with it or you're not. Like you can appreciate the practical effects, but it's a weird movie.
It's a weird movie.
Very like
the first half doesn't do for me because whenever I rewatch Pumpkinhead, the first half always throws me off of like, am I watching Pumpkinhead? Did I put the right movie on? Because it has like people on motorcycles and dirt bikes out in the desert, and like, is this the right movie? Did I put the right movie on?
Yeah, it's a strange one. It does start a little slow, but I think once Lance Henriksen's like going to the witch's house in the middle of the woods, like everything beyond that is just riveting. I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
The other one here, Clownzilla from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This thing
Yeah.
looks incredible. Again, Syndicate Collectibles is where all of these so far have come from. No price points. I don't think they're due out until 2024, I believe. That's what I saw.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
One I know for sure I will be picking up. This is the next group of NECA's Puppet Master series. I have the first two sets that have come out already. This next set comes with Jester and my favorite of the Puppet Master puppets, 6-shooter. Again, these look incredible. These come as a 2-pack. Their box almost looks like Toulon's trunk when you open it. They're like sitting inside the Puppet Master trunk. So yeah, these look incredible. There's been a lot of speculation if these were even going to come out. I'm glad that they're finally coming out, and there's also rumors that another set might be coming soon as well.
Very nice. I finally have a set of 9 Puppet Master movies that I got from your sloppy seconds.
You got I can't wait to my hand-me-down DVDs.
I can't wait to dig into them. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Given how much I've liked the other Full Moon stuff I've dabbled in this year, I expect to really love Puppet Master.
Puppet Master 3, man, it's a banger. It's a banger. Also coming from NECA, these look awesome. These are from the Toonie Terrors.
Toonie Terrors, yeah.
Line. These look incredible. We got Tarman from Return of the Living Dead. You have the Misfits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Misfits guy, so that one's off the table. Yeah. But Tarman looks incredible.
Yeah, Tarman is great. Tarman kind of lends himself to like a Toonie Terrors type thing. Like Toonie Terrors, you kind of got to pick and choose because some of them are really cool and some of them are like.
Did we need that?
Yeah. But like Tarman is a Toonie Terror where it's like that one makes sense. I love that one. Yeah.
And what's nice about the Toonie Terrors line is they're a nice like entry point action figure because they're they're usually $15 retail. You can sometimes find them for $10 sometimes. So I think this is and they look great. They don't have any articulation really, but they look exactly what you expect them to look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last up, Toonie Terrors. Megan gets her own action figure and the one and only Vincent Van Gogh. Well, Vincent Price.
That Vincent Price one is so good. Mm-hmm. Like the Vincent Price one, I might have to get. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna lie. I don't buy a whole lot of action figures or collectibles and stuff. Like I'm pretty selective with the stuff that I buy. Mm-hmm. But like Vincent Price, I mean, he's my hero, man. And that Toonie Terror just looks awesome. It's such a good likeness while staying true to like the brand of Toonie Terror. That I'm just,
It fits perfect in the Toonie Terrors because Toonie Terrors are really based on like Scooby-Doo. They really look like Scooby-Doo cartoons.
100%.
And to have a Vincent Van Gogh in that set, it's going to fit perfect. They need to do the Scooby Gang at some point in these Toonie Terrors.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe San Diego Comic-Con down the road, they'll do like a 5-pack of the Scooby Gang together as a Toonie Terror or something like that.
That would be rad.
Yeah. So that is it for San Diego Comic-Con reveals.
Yeah.
Awesome year. You can go check out. I mean, you can find all these online. Most of them are already up for pre-order. At least the NECA ones are up for pre-order already. So.
Yep. So
that's it.
That's also it for Screamin' Mad News.
That's it for Screamin'.
It's time for the next segment and my favorite question that I get to ask. Casey, what are you doing lately?
What am I doing lately? First things first, I'm going to start off with something I literally just got in the mail.
Okay.
Speaking of Full Moon.
Oh, you got the Evil Bong box set?
I did. I finally got it. Came in the mail. Yeah, this thing is cool. There's not much to say. It's very heavy duty. It's awesome. I love this. It is a huge set. Comes with the Evil Bong movies up until 777. Yes, that's one of the movies. But it also includes the Evil Bong versus Ginger Dead Man.
God.
Ouija's, which is a spin-off of the Evil Dead series, or Evil Bong series, not Evil Dead series. Yeah, this thing is incredible. I love it. It's amazing.
So after you told me about the whole full moon features, like you can subscribe and they send you a box set or whatever, like I looked into it and I saw that you could subscribe, and one of the box sets that they offered was the Evil Bong one.
Yep.
And I've decided that when I do pull the trigger on my full moon features subscription, which is coming sooner rather than later, I'm totally going in on the Evil Bong set. I love the first one. I have not seen any of the sequels, but like the first one was a staple, man. Like I love that movie.
I've only seen the first two, and then the Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. So I'll eventually go down the rabbit hole of those, but I like them. They're fun, schlocky full moon movies.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, I have been watching quite a few different movies. I think I'll start off with like the theme of some of my recent watches.
That's fair.
So Kayla is very much in a shark kick right now, or monster.
She should be.
It was just
Shark Week.
Is it still Shark Week, or was Shark Week? I don't. No one has cable anymore. So
last week was Shark Week.
Okay.
I think.
So our household has been in
every week is Shark Week at my house.
That vibe, yeah. And I've made it no secrets. They're not for me usually. Shark movies. Maybe when we do a shark episode, it'll just be called Casey Hates Shark Movies.
Yeah.
I won't be kind here either. I'm sorry. The first one I have on here is I finally watched The Meg. In anticipation for a movie I'm very much looking forward to. The Meg 2.
I disagree hardcore with you on this one, but that's okay.
That's okay. The first Meg is an awful movie. It is a movie I have tried to watch multiple times, and I get about 20 minutes in and I'm like, I'm bored, or I fall asleep, or whatever.
Insane.
Finally got around. We watched the entire movie. Kayla did the same thing. It took her a couple times to watch it. She did not like it either, but we're both very much looking forward to The Meg 2. I have a feeling just from the trailers alone, The Meg 2 is giving me what I want in a movie called The Meg, starring Jason Statham. Whereas the first movie is just a boring, bland, blockbuster action movie that tries to be a Marvel quippy team-up, this is our big action hero movie, and everything just kind of falls flat for me.
That's fair. I disagree, but that's fair. It does not fall flat for me in any, like, it doesn't fall flat for me. I'll just say that. Like, could it be rated R? Yes.
Oh, I don't care if it's rated R. That was the least of my... I didn't even notice that until you just said that. That's the least of my problems.
Okay.
It's just the characters are just so bland, boring. So I don't know. That's just me. I didn't like the movie. I want to see Jason Statham in a mech suit punching a Meg in the face. That's what I want.
Yes.
And this movie
you're going to get that.
Yes. And
you're going to get that in the Meg 2, I think.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Also,
because that's all I want. That's all I want is Jason Statham punching fish in the face.
Also, let's real quick plug that we are going to be at the Coyote Twin in Vermilion.
Yes.
The weekend. Well, no, it's a couple weekends after the Meg 2 drops. But I think we're going to check out the Meg 2 at the Coyote Twin.
Maybe. I don't remember if it's there or not.
I can't remember. But we will be at the Coyote Twin on the 18th? 19th?
I'm looking it up because you're throwing us on the spot here. 19th, yes.
I am. It's the 19th. That's the Saturday. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be slinging some SuperCon stuff and talking about our film fest and hanging out at the Coyote Twin pretty much like all afternoon. It's going to be a blast, guys. Check it out. Come hang at the Coyote Twin and catch a movie with us. It'll
be better than watching The Meg. All right, the next one I have on here, keeping with shark movies. We'll save our crossover one for the end. I watched Three-Headed Shark Attack, which I believe is an Asylum movie starring Danny Trejo and Rob Van Dam. Truly awful. A terrible movie. RVD is one of one of my favorite wrestlers ever. He's given nothing to do. He shows up about 3/4 of the way into this movie, and he's just hanging out on like a college party boat. But he's like 40 years old, and it's like, why is RVD hanging out with a bunch of college students? In my head canon, he's like their drug dealer, and they just invited him on the boat. Meanwhile, he's wearing like dad sandals and white socks, and it's the funniest thing ever. He has nothing to do in the movie, but I thought it was somewhat entertaining just because RVD's in it, but he's given nothing to do. Yeah, it's an awful movie. Three-Headed Shark Attack is a bad movie. I've not gone on to the other headed shark attack movies. No.
Casey, have you seen our comments?
What's up?
Chandra says that we should still have the Meg 2 when we're there.
That's probably that'll probably be the second time we watch that movie, though.
Yeah. We'll definitely be catching it at the Coyote Twin then.
Yeah, definitely. Other bad shark. Oh, okay. So this one's not a shark movie, Sam. The next one is called Piranhaconda, which again is
Oh my God, that sounds incredible.
Does it?
It does.
Maybe this will. I mean, I think I already sold you with the title of it. Stars Michael Madsen.
In.
Okay. Directed by Jim Wynorski.
In further.
Shouldn't be, because this movie's awful. It is not. It has elements of what makes like a fun Jim Wynorski movie. You and I like literally read his filmography the other night and thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh my God!
This is a PG. This is a
core titles in his filmography.
Yes,
guys. Check out his IMDb.
This one is a PG-13 made-for-TV movie that gives you kind of nothing in it.
Okay.
With some bad CGI and a pretty lazy Michael Madsen performance. Very, very forgettable. I can't go into depth on any of these movies. You understand what they are by clicking on the title.
Yeah, you're kind of speaking my language here, though, bro. Like, these are the kind of movies that I waste my Saturday evenings on.
And I did. They're just not for me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
It's different. I think it's more so the bad CGI.
Yeah.
Than anything.
That doesn't bother me so much.
I would rather have bad practical effects than bad CGI, though.
I agree with that. Like, I prefer bad practical effects over bad CGI. But I think more than anything, I just prefer bad effects over really good ones.
Well, we'll save the other one for when we get to yours, though. We have another shark movie I will talk about. A good shark movie, and I will say that. Next up for me, again clicking on movies based on titles. I had heard of this one. We clicked on it because Kayla was very intrigued by it. We watched the Troma film Poultrygeist. Have you seen Poultrygeist?
No,
okay,
but I have heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard what I think are great things.
Okay, yeah, I loved this movie. I love Poultrygeist. It gave me everything I wanted. It's a satire. It's a comedy. It's a gross out movie. It's a musical. It's a monster movie. It's got all of that rolled into one. Thanks, Uncle Lloyd. I appreciate you making Poultrygeist.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, watch it, Sam. Watch Poultrygeist.
Okay,
it rules.
I will.
It's gross. It's offensive. It's trauma.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Troma's a big blind spot for me.
Yeah.
I need to fill in some Troma blanks.
That might be a good. I want to say that's a good one for you to start with.
Good entry point.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm really excited for Nukem High, though. I know you sang those.
That's another good one too.
That one.
Or Toxic Avenger. I think you have there's a couple entry points.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger. I'm very interested in just because of Toxic Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's as good as that show is.
It is. It's obviously very different.
Obviously
very
different. Yes. Yeah. So.
Speaking of another king of B movies, let's go to Charlie Band's Empire Pictures. I rewatched Reanimator.
A comfort movie for me.
Yeah. I need to just rewatch this movie more. I feel like this needs to become once a year. I don't usually rewatch a whole lot of movies, but Reanimator should be one. It's a perfect movie. It has everything I want in it. It is directed by arguably, I would say, the best B movie director of
one of them for sure.
I think he has to be. I don't know who else you would put up besides Stuart Gordon as the greatest B movie
John Carpenter.
Is something like Christine a B movie though?
I think all of it. Like, I think his 80s run is exclusively
Halloween?
B movies.
Is Halloween a B movie?
I mean, it's a slasher with very little characterization.
Yeah, it stars Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, but like she wasn't a big name then. That was like her breakout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I consider John Carpenter movies like maybe not like B movies in the typical sense. He makes like studio B movies.
Yeah.
But like he makes B movies under a studio, which I think is kind of punk rock.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Is John Carpenter a B movie director?
Yeah.
I say
I'm
no.
curious.
But yeah, no, Reanimator rules. Loved it. Loved Reanimator. It's a perfect movie. We need to do a Stuart Gordon episode down the road.
Oh, for sure, dude. Stuart Gordon rules.
He does rule. Next up, I watched a movie called We Are Still Here.
Is that the Barbara Crampton one?
It is the Barbara Crampton one.
I have not seen this one. Is it good?
Came out 2015. I think I had watched this when it came out, but I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I had started it and just didn't finish it or something. Anyway, we watched it right after we watched House of the Devil, which we'll talk about a little later on in the show. Because we're kind of looking for something in the similar vibe, and it's one of the first movies that came up as recommended. Directed by Ted Geoghegan, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah. He just did Brooklyn 45 for Shudder, right? I need to check that one out too.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a movie starring Barbara Crampton. It also stars Lisa Marie and Larry Fessenden. So a pretty fun cast of notable faces for sure. Yeah.
I remember Jacob's Life kind of being a reunion for her and Fessenden.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Between both this and I guess they didn't share any screen time together, but they were both in You're Next.
That's right.
Alongside Ty West.
Yeah.
I almost rewatched You're Next just because technically it is a Ty West movie.
He's in the movie.
He's in the movie.
Yeah. But We Are Still Here. It's a supernatural movie that has a sort of twist, not a bit of a genre twist in a way by the end of the movie. It's a very similar setup. This couple played by Barbara Crampton and Andrew Senig. I haven't seen him in anything.
Okay.
They play this couple that their college-age son has just passed away a few months ago. They're trying to find like a new beginning in a way. So they move to this very, very rural small town and they buy this house that they soon find out was a funeral home. And it was a house that this family was murdered in, lynched mobbed in by the people of the town because the people of the town believed that they were selling off the bodies that went to the funeral home. And so spooky stuff starts to happen. Barbara Crampton believes it's her deceased son. The dad doesn't believe anything, so they invite their friends, Lisa Marie and Larry Fessenden, who are kind of paranormal researchers. They're in tune with kind of their spiritual side, spirituality. So they invite them over, and they soon realize that it is, in fact, not their son who is trying to contact them. And that's kind of what I'll leave it at. I'll leave it at that. So I recommend it. It's not a perfect movie. The writing is a bit wonky, but I think there's enough meat on the bone that makes it for a very, very entertaining movie.
Cool. I've been interested in this one for the longest time. I think the poster is one of the coolest indie horror posters I have ever seen.
Great poster.
Like, it just, I don't know. It gives great vibes. So looking forward to it. I do love the cast of this. It's pretty stacked.
Yeah.
And yeah. Cool.
Last one I will leave for you to bring up. Sam.
Okay.
What are you doing?
So I fell asleep halfway, like keeping in touch with like pretty much the rest of the season. I fell asleep halfway through the finale of Joe Bob and have not had the time to go back and watch the second half, which he played Day of the Dead for. I'm very excited to see that. I know he did some sort of special effect at the end of the night that miraculously has not been spoiled for me yet. So I'm like trying to keep the blinders on until I can actually watch that. But I did make it through barely. I was very tired that week. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, which is like, oh my God, how did he put it? It's like an Italian Mexican zombie movie set in Britain.
Okay.
And it's just very much trying to copy what Romero did. And it's very Night of the Living Dead. It's very like, it follows a lot of like similar beats. It borrows a lot from Romero, but then it also turns a lot of the stuff up to like an 11 in certain aspects. Can't say I loved the movie, but I appreciated that Joe Bob showed something that was a little more underseen in the zombie genre.
I was gonna say I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I could not even find it. Like, it went under 15 different titles throughout the course in like different countries and stuff throughout the course of its run or whatever. So like when he first said it, I was looking it up under the Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, which is what he announced it as, and I could not find it. And it finally came up on IMDb under some like other name. And then it was like, oh, okay, now I can find it all over the place. Fun movie. If you have Shudder, check it out, because Joe Bob's presentation of it is great. He clearly has a lot of love for this movie, and I don't know, his presentation of it was maybe my favorite part of the movie, which I found like it was good. It just like didn't knock my socks off, you know? But it clearly knocked Joe Bob's off. He spoke very highly of it. He loves it. So I don't know. I'm glad he played it. It was cool to see him take a little bit of a swing, especially on the finale. And I'd even say Day of the Dead is a little bit of a swing, because that is not one of the more popular Romero films. I feel like most people consider that like at least the weakest of his Living Dead trilogy.
Interesting.
Do you not feel that way? I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've actually never seen Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah. Day of the Dead rules.
Okay. I mean, I've heard
mine
good.
I think Dawn is my favorites, and then it kind of fluctuates between night and day.
Okay.
But I could also see why someone's favorite might be day or someone's favorite might be night. I think they're all three at least 4 or 5-star movies.
Yeah. I mean, I love Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, which I watched for the first time for Slashlot. That was a fun episode too.
It was. What else you got, Sam?
The only other thing I have, well, okay, I'm gonna talk about the movie we watched together, and then I'll talk about the Ty West movie that doesn't quite fit in with the other 4.
Okay.
So I finally got Casey to watch one of my favorite modern shark movies, a movie that I've been raving about and trying to get so many people to watch. It made my top 10 horror of the year it came out. Deep Blue Sea 3. Granted, this movie came out in 2020, but I still think in a normal movie-going year, it would have made my top 10. I have a blast with this movie, and I finally showed it to Casey. It's the same premise as the first 2 Deep Blue Seas. Genetically enhanced sharks. They're not bigger or stronger or anything. They're just smarter. Their brains are bigger, and they can outsmart humans and the ways humans have to kill them. And this one's set on like a floating island, like a little floating village in the middle of nowhere. And you've got this company that's out for their own best interests. And you've got the like, I want to save the oceans and the planet people who are, doing work on this island, and they're clashing. And then it kind of just turns into an action movie between those 2 groups for a while. And then they use the sharks again. It's insane. It's an insane movie. What did you think of it, Casey?
This is my first exposure to the franchise that is Deep Blue Sea. I have not seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one, which was also, I believe, straight to video.
Yes, the second one was also straight to video. So I have not actually watched the second one yet. I own it. I have not watched it. I have heard it's very much just pretty much a remake of the first one, just on a direct-to-video budget. But it is on my watch list probably, well, I'm going on vacation. But after vacation, it's probably going to be one of the first things I watch. So
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with Deep Blue Sea 3. I think it's a
Mhm.
really fun straight to video movie and one of the better uses of kind of just being straight to video. Has a ton of fun with the premise. It does something different where it has this floating island that these scientists are all on, and it's not really explained why they're out there or who built this or what's the point of it. It's not that it's just an island that they inhabited. No, it's a man-made
yeah,
village that
it's
they
like a
built in the
man-made
middle of the
village.
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only two people still living on it that were like natives of this village.
Yeah.
And then it's just the science crew. Yeah.
And it has everything you kind of expect in these type of movies. You have the cliched characters, you have the more of a caricature than characters in this, which is fine. Yeah. They're pretty well acted for I don't know anyone in this movie.
No.
They're all no names to me. But
it's all a bunch of direct to video people who look like bigger celebrities.
Part of the fun of watching this was us trying to figure out who the mainstream star was that they all looked like, because each of them you can tell like there's a connection to like, oh, that's Frank that's Frank Grillo, that's Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the quirky, like, I don't know, Michael Cera, John Heater type of character in here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I don't know. I think it benefited from not having, like, for example, a Michael Madsen just randomly showing up in it.
Yeah.
Or a Danny Trejo. I think it benefits from that, and that's kind of a rarity for me. And I think that's just because the movie kind of by itself stands alone pretty well.
It's got some actually good, tense, like action set pieces that never quite like they're never unexpected.
No.
Like, okay, there's one moment that's really
I was gonna say there's more. The shark stuff is somewhat unexpected. I don't find this movie very tense at all, but I do find it like a really fun time. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I think there's a natural tension with me in shark movies just because of my fear of sharks. That just gets me. Like, even if it's a big fake CGI shark swimming directly at the camera, it makes my heart jump a little bit. So, yeah, I love Deep Blue Sea 3, and I'm so glad that you did too.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's a good direct-to-video movie. Kind of reminds me of like the Tremors direct-to-video movies where they're like, obviously they're not perfect, but they're a ton of fun to watch. And they, even if it was released theatrically, you'd be like, yeah, why not? Sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then the last thing I watched, like literally right before we started doing this, I know I said last week that we wouldn't count Ty West's spaghetti western in this episode, but I revisited Ty West's spaghetti western for the first time since I found it on Blu-ray at Last Stop, like the year it came out, and I picked it up, and I was in a big western phase back then anyways, and so I watched it alongside like a bunch of classic westerns. And I'll just put it this way: In a Valley of Violence is not a classic western. It's not going to be like, it's not going up there with Once Upon a Time in the West or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, it's not that movie. It's very much a B movie spaghetti western by the numbers. But this cast is stacked, dude. Like, Ty West, he got Ethan Hawke, John Travolta, James Ranson, Taissa Farmiga, Karen Gillan, Toby Huss. Oh my God. And there are like 4 or 5 other character actors in this movie that like I'm blanking on the names, but I'm like, yeah, I know that person. I know them from this, or I know them from this, or I know them from this. It's just the most stacked cast, and they elevate this pretty, I don't know, like by the numbers B movie to something really enjoyable. And when it's a slow burn, but like it's essentially John Wick in Western form. Like, Ethan Hawke rides into town. He runs afoul of this like really douchey guy in a saloon. He makes an ass of this douchey guy in the saloon. And it turns out that this guy is the son of the marshal, played by John Travolta. John Travolta, being the nice marshal that he is like, look, I know my son started this, but I can't have you in here causing trouble. If you just move on, like leave town, move on, we're going to have no issues. So Ethan Hawke does just that. But guess what? James Ranson follows him out with like Toby Huss and a bunch of his other cronies, and he beats Ethan Hawke up and he kills his dog. And that's like the worst part of the movie. I hate when they kill the dog, but like after that, Ethan Hawke's just like, they like throw Ethan Hawke off a cliff and he lives. And he comes back into town and he's ready for revenge. And he just like, you know, I mean, he kills them all. It's a Western.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. If you like
Was this
Ty West stuff.
Straight to video?
I think it had a very, very limited release.
I want to
Like,
say, even
very
like,
limited.
I know Travolta did a lot of straight to video stuff around the time, but to have
But,
like
Hawke
Ethan
didn't.
Hawke didn't.
Yeah. It was not in a whole bunch of theaters, but it was in, I do think it got like a limited theatrical release along with like, you know, paid VOD and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, when I watched it initially, it was like with a string of like much more classic, like Sergio Leone Westerns and things like that. And so it's like, obviously it's going to pale a little bit in comparison to those, but it is shot with a lot of love and attention to craft. Like it looks like they actually use the techniques. Like it looks like a fake Western town. Like it looks like a set.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like they have matte paintings in the background. I don't know if they actually did or if it's like a style. Like I'm guessing because it's Ty West, they actually did. I have not had time to look into this movie. Like I said, I finished it and I ate and then I hopped on here. So, but I really like this one. On a rewatch, I was like, this movie kind of rules. I'll probably end up watching it again in a couple of years.
Yeah, I didn't even know this movie existed until X came out, and I was like, "Where's Ty West been? Like, he hasn't made a movie in a long time." I was like, "Oh, he made a Western movie that no one talks about anymore."
Yeah, well, it's such an outlier in his filmography. It's literally horror, Western horror.
Yeah. Yeah, I will definitely watch it. Westerns are not my genre. Obviously, we host a movie podcast about horror movies and not Westerns, but I do want to check it out because I do love Ty West. And if you're saying it's like a stylistically like some of his other movies where he incorporates like the times, like X is a 70s movie, Innkeepers a very 80s movie, he's making like an old school Western. That's very intriguing.
Yeah, and it's like the performances in it are really good. It's like I said, it's a who's who of character actors. There's not a bad performance in this thing. Toby Huss in particular, he doesn't have a very big role, but it's like an impactful one. I love Toby Huss in this movie. He's really good. He also should have, I don't know, I think Weird got nominated for some Emmys, but if he didn't get nominated for an Emmy for Weird last year, he should have.
Like the Al Yankovic movie?
Yeah.
Why is that nominated? Wait, what? That's nominated for Emmys?
Because it's a TV movie. It wasn't eligible for Oscars because it never got a theatrical run.
Didn't the Oscars change that rule?
No, not for. So even streaming movies have to have at least a small, like 2-week theatrical run.
Whatever. The awards are bullshit anyway.
They are. But if Toby Huss doesn't win an Emmy for Weird, I'm gonna be pissed. Unless the Emmys already happened. I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff.
I don't know.
Tell me if Toby Huss won an Emmy if you know in the comments.
Did It's Always Sunny get nominated for an Emmy? No, not yet. Okay,
No.
Moving on. All right, Emmys suck.
Yeah.
Spit on the award goers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
Well, let's take a trip to you're already in the Wild Wild West. We're gonna go to the Wild Wild Ty West.
Hell yeah.
All right, we're talking about filmmaker Ty West, who has directed such films. I mean, one of them we already talked about a couple months ago on the show now, The Sacrament. Sam, if you want to say anything about it, we can when we get into this. But me and Kayla did a full episode on that, and I talked a lot about Ty West in that. But thank you. I think we're going to talk about mostly, like, in a way, his big four is what I would say these are. We're going to talk about the Innkeepers, House of the Devil, X, and Pearl. Yeah. And I think we can throw in some other stuff we can touch on. I don't remember a whole lot about his VHS segment even, and I love VHS. It's kind of the
I
most.
haven't.
I had to look it up which one he did, and it's the one with Joe Swanberg, and I'm like, okay, it's the one with Joe Swanberg. I don't remember anything about it though.
The only VHS movie I've seen is the most recent one.
Oh,
So,
okay. We're gonna do a VHS episode.
oh,
Sam.
we should, because
Yeah.
I really liked, what was it, 99 was the more recent one? It was the one we watched in my
Yes.
theater room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie rules.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Next time you let me pick an episode, I might pick the VHS.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to watching them.
So Ty West, what was your introduction to the filmmaker? I don't have a whole lot of like history stuff about Ty West. I can pull up his IMDb. I know he went to film school in New York. He's kind of part of I think they call this the splat.
Mumblecore.
The Splat Pack is what I've heard, or it's like the Mumblecore. But
yeah,
it's like
Mumble Gore is kind of
Gore is another name. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
it's Ty West, Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, AJ Bowen, Joe Swanberg. I think Adam Green is also thrown into there as well.
Yeah. The first time I think my introduction to Ty West was actually You're Next. I think I knew Ty West as an actor before I knew him as a director. But I remember in the lead up to You're Next, because like that was kind of my introduction into just mumblegore in general, and like this indie film, like this indie horror scene that kind of boomed in the 2010s, right?
Yeah.
So I remember watching that and knowing like, oh, Joe Swanberg, AJ Bowen, and Ty West are all also directors. Like Adam Wingard casted directors in his movie. And I remember thinking like Ty West stuff was like, he's really dry, but kind of funny in like the very limited screen time that he has.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like him and Swanberg playing off each other, where Swanberg's kind of like antagonizing him about like, oh, underground film fests? Do they show the films underground? Like, that's way too specific. Like, someone definitely asked Joe Swanberg that one time, and he was just like, I'm using that for this douchey character.
Yeah. I mean, do you know the story of how these guys all got together?
Not really, no.
So, like, the Mumble Gore group, they were all making films around that time in, like, the mid-2000s. 07, 08, right in there. They would go to film festivals together, and they'd kind of just see each other there. Be like, oh, hey, if you need help on something, I'll help you out, type of thing. Like, that's why AJ Bowen is in House of the Devil. He's also in You're Next. That's why Ty West is in You're Next. They all became friends, and they're like, if you need help on your... It's very much like a very small, tight-knit community where it's like, sure, we could hire actors and stuff, but I can trust my friends to actually come and make this very low budget movie.
Yeah.
And I think
that's so cool.
For me, I know House of the Devil came out before You're Next. And I think that's the first one we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll just go in chronological order. But I think You're Next is a very important movie to talk about here, because that was also my introduction to Ty West. Was him as an actor. And I think a lot of modern horror has a lot to owe to You're Next specifically.
Oh, for
a lot.
Sure.
And I still don't think it gets the credit that it deserves. Is it a perfect...
Halloween 18 does not exist without You're Next.
No, it does not. Any of your favorite Scream Queens coming back now to your franchises, including Jamie Lee Curtis. And arguably enough to her showing up in other movies and eventually showing up in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think we can tie Everything Everywhere All at Once and Jamie Lee Curtis's Oscar win to You're Next. Am I crazy in saying that? Maybe not. I don't know.
You are not crazy in saying that. And I mean that because like that was my introduction to Barbara Crampton, which blew open the doors to a bunch of 80s horror that I had never seen before, which is incredible in and of itself. But it showed like horror fans were excited to have her back.
Yeah.
And that's something I remember specifically about the buzz of that movie was Barbara Crampton's back. Barbara Crampton's doing another horror movie. And immediately I was like, well, who's Barbara Crampton?
Yeah.
And, like after that, you started seeing that pop up everywhere where it's like, oh, we've got this scream queen from like, remember this movie that you love? We got her back,
Yeah.
like, yeah, agreed.
I think
I
a lot of modern horror owes itself to that, and it's really because those guys were just fans of Reanimator and Castle Freak and Chopping Mall.
Yeah.
It's like they were just fans of Barbara Crampton. I don't remember the full story of Barbara talking about why she's in You're Next. I know she took time off from acting to be a mom. And I mean, that's awesome. But at this point, I think she said she was kind of ready / kind of like, if that's it, it's it type of thing. And I think,
well, and now she's producing.
And now she's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like legit, like she is producing movies and writing almost every issue.
Yeah.
Like she's got an article almost every issue of Fangoria.
I think she has in every issue.
Like a column, yeah.
And I mean, I would throw Barbara Crampton's name into that Mumblegore group. Larry Fessenden 100%. Included can be included in there as well.
Jacob's Wife is a Mumblegore film through and through. Yeah.
Yeah, Travis Stevens can definitely fall into that category.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And again, even looking at horror itself, like now with like A24 type of movies, I don't think those type of movies exist without something like You're Next, House of the Devil, Innkeepers.
Oh, for sure. Because before people were bitching about A24 movies being slow and nothing happening, guess what? People were bitching about Ty West movies being slow and nothing happening. You're still doing it.
Well, there's one of them where it is slow and nothing happens in the movie.
I disagree, but
we'll talk about it. But no, besides that, I think that's still a problem some horror fans have. But also with that, I think it's looking at studio movies where it's like fans are clamoring for something different. And during this time, they weren't getting something different. They were getting the remakes. They were getting a terrible Nightmare on Elm Street remake, getting a decent Halloween and decent Friday the 13th remakes. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 1 and 2 prequel, whatever, kind of came out and did their thing. You're in the.
I thought you were talking about the 13 one.
Oh, that one's awful. The awful one, movie. Texas Chainsaw 3D. Yeah, awful. Can't wait till we do like a tier ranking on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series.
Oh, dude, there's gonna be
throw the computers at each other or something.
There's gonna be literal bloodshed on that episode.
Yeah, do your thing, Gus. But yeah, I think a lot of modern horror now, almost this is 2011 was Your Next, whatever, 15 years later between House of the Devil and now and stuff. I think a lot of modern horror owes itself to these guys, and I think they need to have their time in the spotlight. And I think a lot of them are getting that now, finally. I think Ty West is getting it with his new modern trilogy, X-Pearl, Maxine. I think Adam Wingard is getting his with doing Godzilla. I think that's a pretty big, here you go type of movie.
I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him.
And I didn't love Godzilla vs. Kong, but I'm glad you got to make Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't my favorite MonsterVerse movie either, but I had a blast with it.
Yeah,
I had fun with it. And I'm very excited to see what he does next with it. Yeah. I think it's a dumb title, the next one, whatever it is. I can't remember it because it's that dumb.
Godzilla X Kong.
Like New Empire or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, I hate that title. But you know what? I'm going to be there opening night because it's an Adam Wingard flick, baby.
Yeah. But, and again, a lot of this comes down to the first movie Ty West. Well, the first movie we're going to talk about that Ty West made. He did make another movie before House of the Devil.
We don't talk about
I think
that,
he did.
Though.
He might have done 2, Sam.
2?
I think so. I think there's another Ty West movie that we're missing. We're both looking this up on the spot. Terrible host.
2 boys?
There's a movie called The Roost from 2005.
What?
Yes.
Hold on.
It is.
Is it about a demonic rooster? Because if it is, he stole my idea.
Following a near-death car accident, 4 friends on their way to a Halloween wedding venture to a secluded farm for help. Little do they know, however, they will soon disturb an ancient evil with far more ghastly plans in store for them.
Oh my God, it's a TV movie, and it's got Tom Noonan
and Larry Fessenden in it.
I
Tom
have to
Noonan
find this, dude.
plays a horror host in this.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, I'm just watching this right now, right live. Like, everybody tune in to see where you can
Tune
find
in.
this
It is
movie.
on nothing, Sam.
Seriously?
That is why we're not talking about it.
No.
So
I have to find it.
maybe the YouTube gods will help us out on this one. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyway, we're not talking about that movie because again, it's not even available to watch on anything. So that one came out in 2005. There's another one that came out in 2009, the same year as House of the Devil. One that I've already talked about on this show, Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. I've said my piece. It's not a good movie. Ty West has wanted his name taken off it. I think that's enough for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I don't care to.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's not good. Not good.
Also, if you just type in The Roost to YouTube, there is maybe a 1 hour and 17 minute video version of it on YouTube. So
hey, that's my thing. If it's not on anywhere to stream, YouTube it, man. Just YouTube it.
So I don't know. But I might have to watch that.
I think a lot of people's first introduction and the reason Ty West kind of blew up as an indie name to watch, especially in the horror genre, was House of the Devil. So let's start with that. House of the Devil, 2009. It was the first Ty West directed movie that I watched.
I think it was for me too.
Okay.
I think it was for me too. What's funny though is like I remember hearing because the Innkeepers came out the same year that Your Next did, correct? 2011.
11 or 10. I can't remember.
11 is what the Innkeepers was.
Okay.
So I remember hearing about the Innkeepers and thinking that movie sounded scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't know. For some reason, I thought House of the Devil was made. Like, even up until we were watching these for this episode, I was always under the impression that the Innkeepers came before House of the Devil. I don't know why. I think it's because, like, to me, House of the Devil is he has such a command of that movie that I don't necessarily think he does as much in the Innkeepers. Mm-hmm. I like that movie a lot. Dare I say, I love the Innkeepers, warts and all. But I don't think it's
Sing your letterbox review, Sam. You love the Innkeepers.
I do. Okay. I love the Innkeepers, warts and all, but it is not as confident of a movie as House of the Devil.
There's a connection between the two, and we'll get to that when we get to the Innkeepers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you know the connection or not, I don't know. I'll talk.
It sounds familiar. When you say it, I'll probably be like, "Oh yeah," but it's like one of those film nerd things that's tucked way back.
So, House of the Devil, 2009. This movie stars Jocelyn Donahue as Samantha, who is a college student who's looking to get out of her college dorm with her slobby roommate, who just brings guys over all the time and just makes a mess out of their room. So she's trying to get out of there. So she has found a new place. Dee Wallace is trying to help her out here. Again, shout out to another Scream Queen that Ty West kind of brought out from a bit of obscurity in a way. Why was Dee Wallace not in movies in the 2000s?
When she popped up on screen, I forgot she was in it.
I did too, yeah.
And when she popped up on my rewatch, I was like, "Oh my god, that's Dee Wallace!" Like, that's exciting.
This is the same year she would have. No, this is 2 years after she appeared in Rob Zombie's Halloween. So thanks, Rob.
Right.
Thanks,
Rob.
That's right. But this college student, played by Jocelyn Donahue, Samantha, she ends up taking this babysitting job for this creepy old man and his creepy old wife who have just moved into town, and they live in this creepy old house. She soon finds out that she's not, in fact, babysitting a child. She is there to be kind of a caretaker for, I believe it is his mother, the old man's mother. Maybe it's not specified. Maybe. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
There to take care of a geriatric woman. She is. Go ahead.
Right away, because and Barbie director Greta Gerwig.
Yes.
Plays her best friend who drives her out. She's skeptical the whole way, and when this girl ends up taking the job for a lot more money, Greta Gerwig gets pissed and she's like, "No, I'm out of here. You should be coming with me," and all this stuff. She's the only person in this movie with any sense.
Is she though? What she does after that, spoilers for House of the Devil. We're going to get into spoilers here. She's not very smart when we get to that.
That's true.
So the first thing with this movie, the first time I watched it, I remember putting it on because I had heard great things about House of the Devil. This is probably right around when I watched You're Next. 2011, 2012, probably.
Yeah.
And I put this movie on, and as soon as the title card comes up, House of the Devil, I paused it, and I was like, what year is this movie?
Yeah.
Because I knew in my mind, I'm like, this is a new movie. But I had to pause it, and I still remember looking it up. I'm like, what year did this come out? Yeah. That is the biggest thing why I love this movie, and it's still my favorite Ty West movie, amongst other things in it. This movie feels straight out of 1983. Like,
it does.
You could tell me that this movie was made in 1983, and I would believe you.
Yeah.
If I didn't know the actors in it, I would 100% believe this is just a movie someone found from 1983 and no one ever talked about, and now here it is.
Well, once again, you have Tom Noonan, Dee Wallace, oh my gosh, Mary Warnov in this. So it really could have been made in 1983 because everyone else is pretty, well, I guess Gerwig was kind of known in like the New York film circle. But like everybody else in this movie is pretty unknown, you know? At the time, anyways. At the time, yeah. Now every one of them, like we know them. There've been in a lot, especially Jocelyn Donahue, which
she's not been in it enough.
She's not been in enough.
She's been in quite a few. Not
but
enough,
I love every time she pops up.
Yeah.
Like when she was in Doctor Sleep, I'm just like.
Or Insidious Chapter 2. We talked about that last time.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think she's incredible in this movie. And I do love the chemistry she has with Greta Gerwig. And again, both of them feel like they are people from the 80s. They feel straight from the 80s. Jocelyn Donahue feels very much like she could have been, I mean, granted this is the 70s, she could have been one of the sorority girls in Bob Clark's Black Christmas.
She could have, yeah. I feel like their dynamic is very similar in this movie to like Laurie and Annie in the first Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Like Greta Gerwig.
There's some very direct influences.
Yeah.
Ty West has in this movie. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And I don't know. Gerwig's whole attitude is very much like out of that era. And just the way she carries herself, even the way she eats pizza at the restaurant. It's just like, God, these people, like this world feels so lived in. And like, I don't know any other director that can do that as well as Ty West. Like, it's insane to me how
that's her introductory scene is them eating pizza together.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. You could literally play this right next to like Halloween 3 and you would not be able to spot the difference in era if you didn't know any of the actors in either movie. Like,
I was going to say, this has a very direct influence from John Carpenter's Halloween, I think, is a big one. I would say Black Christmas is as well. And
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I would say there's some Rosemary's Baby in here too. And then I would say When a Stranger Calls is another one.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Every phone call with Tom Noonan is terrifying.
Yeah.
This movie does such a great job. Again, it is a slow burn movie. It has bits of like, oh my God, that just happened throughout it. But it's mostly a slow burn following this girl as she's in this house, mostly alone for a majority of the runtime of this movie.
Yeah.
And it is utterly terrifying.
It is, because like she is, for most of the runtime, like she knows like something's weird.
Yeah.
But like she doesn't recognize that she's in danger ever.
Yeah.
Like it.
Whereas us is so what I love about this movie, when we get to the house and we get to the scene where Greta Gerwig leaves, Jocelyn Donahue stays. She's going to get paid 4 times as much as she originally was planning on it. It was easily going to take care of her new apartment to rent. And Greta Gerwig leaves. She's going to come back at midnight. All of this is going on during the eclipse. I think we need to throw that out here as well.
And the movie opens with like quotes about like satanic panic and like how a majority of Americans believed that satanic cults were running rampant, and like all this stuff. Perfect tone setter.
Yeah.
Because it tells you where it's going before the movie even starts.
Yeah.
And so there's just a sense of dread immediately. Like even before
Mhm.
she gets to the house, like you said, every time she's on the phone with Tom Noonan, there's like a pit in your stomach because you're like, something's off here. Like,
Mhm.
don't go to that house. And then she goes to the house, and like you said, it's just she's alone. We know she's in trouble. She does not. And it's
Yeah.
terrifying.
It does something that most movies are kind of afraid to do or don't pull off very well, is that the audience is always 2 or 3 steps ahead of the main character.
Hmm.
So we're in her shoes, we're following Samantha, but we're always way ahead of her. Like you said,
Yeah.
the movie opens with, "Oh, this is gonna be a satanic cult movie."
Yep.
You know that before the movie even starts.
Yep.
And then as soon as Greta Gerwig's character leaves the movie, in one of the most shocking scenes I think ever put in a horror movie. It's just out of nowhere. She leaves the house. She goes for some reason pulls over in a graveyard to smoke a cigarette.
Well,
Why
hey,
did
sometimes when a smoke calls, it calls,
Yeah, but
okay?
just drive.
Well, sometimes when you're smoking and the window's down, the ash starts blowing back in your face. I don't like smoking while driving.
Yeah. And then so she's sitting there, all of a sudden AJ Bowen just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and she just keeps talking to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a random dude coming up to your car. But it was also the 80s. People were a little
Yep.
more trusting back
And she
then.
has a great reaction, like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
She at least asks the right questions.
Yeah.
Until
And then he asks the
until
question.
he asked the wrong question for her. So
I
you're
love
not
that.
you're not the
Wait.
babysitter?
You're not the babysitter? And she goes, no. And almost before she's even finished saying the word no, he just pulls out a gun and blasts her right in the face. Like, it's insane. You're just like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah, it's out of nowhere. It is an insane head explosion special effect, and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god,
And it,
this is not
like,
good."
it, I laugh kind of every time I watch that. And it's not because it's funny. I think it's because it's just so shocking that,
Yeah,
like, my body has to do
has to
something.
have some sort of release. Yeah,
Yeah, like, it's insane. I love that scene.
and then there's another scene. So we get back. She's back at the house. She's by herself, and again, it's just a movie where it's like we know something bad is gonna happen, and she's just there by herself, and it's kind of the mundaneness of her
Like
walking through the
shooting
house.
pool.
Yeah, shooting pool, just opening the doors, walking in, turning on a light, closing the door, going to the next room, doing the same. And it's just that for maybe a good 10 minutes where she's just wandering the house with nothing
Mhm.
going on. And yeah, she puts on her Walkman. She
Yeah.
starts playing a tape and she starts bopping around the house. Um and again, all she's doing is bopping around the house, playing pool, opening doors, looking inside, and then closing the doors. There's nothing
And it's
scary happening
riveting.
going on. Yeah, and it's riveting. You're 100% like something bad is going to happen here. When is it going to happen? And it doesn't.
Mhm.
Except us as the audience get something bad because she goes to a door and doesn't open it. And on the other side of that door, there's a pentagram in the middle of the floor with like bodies scattered all around it.
Yep. You find out, like, we find out before she does, mostly through like photos on the wall, and like you see a car in the thing, and then you see a car like off to the side of the house, and then you see a picture of a group of people
Yeah.
around that are not Tom Noonan and Mary Wernov. Like, they're it's a completely different family. And then they reveal the dead bodies around the pentagram, and you're like, oh God, this isn't even these people's house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God. Oh my God. Like, she is in a house that, like,
She's in the house of the devil.
yeah, it's insane. It's just
Yeah.
like, and when you find that out before her and she's just ordering pizza, you're like, no. Because Tom Noonan, like, when that initial conversation, he brings up the pizza like 4 or 5 different times. He goes, if you want pizza, here's the number for it. And it's just like, something tells me you're not telling her that just because you think it's really good pizza.
Yeah.
And
It
that
it,
is,
it looked really good though.
it did look really good, but I would take it without the drugs. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would yeah, I would also take it without
Take
AJ
it
Bowen
sans,
poisoning it. Yeah.
yeah, take it sans drugs,
Mhm.
please. Have a pepperoni pizza without the roofies.
Without the roofies. Are those pepper flakes? No. Yeah, and then the movie just kind of like throws you right into like it's a satanic ritual that's going on. You kind of get no lead, like we already know what's going on, but it's like throws you right into it. She doesn't discover it. She's drugged and she ends up tied up in a room with someone like pouring blood on her from a goat skull, and
it's like an old hag, and she cuts open her arm and she's like dribbling blood all over, and she's like making weird marks on her skin with it, and it's just the nastiest thing.
And it's like, where did this person or thing or whatever it is come from?
Yeah. Has she been in this house with her the whole time?
Yeah.
Have the what are the, I can't remember the name of the couple, but like Tom Noonan and Mary Warnoff, have they been in there the whole time? And like,
is this actually like one of their parents? Is this a demon that they've summoned for the night?
Is it like the head witch of their coven, or like, what is this?
Yeah,
it's just gnarly, like everything that goes on. So upon rewatch, this scene shows way more than I remember it showing. Like, I remember it being very quick and being like, oh, I mean, like, it's more just like subtly hinted that there's being blood poured on her. No. I don't know where I ever got that, because like, it's straight up, she's getting like waterboarded with blood. It's nuts.
I want to say this, the third act of this movie is a bloodbath. There's blood all over this house by the end of it.
All over. Yeah.
She ends up killing the entire family. She ends up one-on-one with Tom Noonan in that same graveyard.
Yep.
And again, there's something about him in this movie I want to talk about a little bit, because he has a quality of like, I still like this guy, or I would still I trust what he's saying, at least.
Yeah.
Where he's not necessarily trying to hurt her, but he's also
like, but he also wants her to carry the devil's baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's the most agreeable evil Satanist I've ever seen. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's something kind of comforting and soothing about the cadence of how he says things that kind of puts you at ease, even while like, it's like, no, what you're saying is really fucked up, dude. Like,
I mean, it's something Ty West does again in The Sacrament, where you have this batshit insane person.
Yeah, like a Jim Jones character.
Yeah, Gene Jones in The Sacraments, and it's like, you're a terrible person, but it's like, I at least believe that you believe in everything that you're saying. And that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yep.
But the movie ends. The movie ends very Rosemary's Baby.
It's such a gut punch. Such a gut punch. They essentially, like, he lets her know, like, yeah, you're going to be carrying the devil's baby, and instead of deciding to kill to hold the devil's baby, she takes the gun that she stole from AJ Bowen earlier in the movie, and she shoots herself with it.
Only she does not die. She ends up in a hospital, and a nurse comes up and says, "You're going to be fine, both of you,"
and touches her belly, and then walks out of the room, and then the
credits roll.
Go
incredible.
Over her unconscious body in the hospital, and it's just like, oh, like, this movie. Okay, so here's the thing. Rewatching this, I was like, this movie, whether Ty West meant it to or not, is 100% about class disparity and how literally being low income is directly affects women's rights, like directly affects their choice to be like, not to get like super into that, all that, but it's just like, oh my God, this movie is so like, it's saying so much more than what your like typical B movie does, you know? There's too many little things that connect all over where I'm like, holy shit, this movie's deep. Like, this rewatch just like hit a whole different chord with me. And I'm not gonna lie, like, if I could rate it higher than 5 stars on this time around, I would.
Yeah.
Like, It's incredible, dude. This
Mm-hmm.
movie is easily one of the best horror movies to come out of the last 20 years,
Oh yeah,
maybe even of all time. Like I would even put it up there as all time. Like
yeah.
I love this movie.
I mean, it's a perfect horror movie. It's exactly everything you would want in a horror movie. Sets
Mhm.
up great characters, a great story, a great mythos, has great gore, has great scares, genuine tension, a gut punch ending, incredible
Mhm.
title card sequence. It has every single thing you would want in a horror movie.
Yep.
Has moments of levity. Like there's some funny stuff in this. Greta Gerwig stealing candy from the house is one of them.
Greta Gerwig is just funny every time
Yeah.
she's on screen. Like,
That's where,
she's so
that's
good.
where the mumblecore stuff comes in with her.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, House of the Devil, perfect movie.
Yep.
5 stars?
Absolutely.
Yeah, five stars.
It's not the only 5-star movie we're going to talk about.
No, but the next one is not that. All right, so let's talk about the Innkeepers. So the connection between the two. So the Innkeepers is the Peddler's Inn, correct? Is that the name of it?
It's like the peddler. Yeah, the peddler. It's like spelled weird, but it's like, yeah, the Peddler's Inn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Peddler's Inn, that's where the cast and crew stayed when they were shooting House of the Devil. Was in that hotel.
Really?
And kind of like when you get to X and Pearl.
Yeah. Yep.
Story comes from just you're on set, you're already in a mood of like, I'm telling a story. Here comes the next one. And that's where the Innkeepers comes from.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the Innkeepers, this was one I watched a lot later on than House of the Devil. I didn't watch this until maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I think I was kind of similar. Like, I definitely watched it prior to that, but like, yeah, I didn't watch it for a couple of years after House of the Devil.
And I don't feel like this movie really got like a cult following like House of the Devil did right away. This one has taken a bit, and I think only now with like X and Pearl has it started to really ramp up of like people going back and revisiting it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Yankee Peddler Inn is what it's called.
That's right. Yep.
So this came out 2011, stars Sarah Paxton as Claire, Pat Healy as Luke, and Lena Dunham's in this one too. She's also in the last one.
Is she?
Yeah, she's the 911 operator. Yeah. Okay. We have a whole Mattel Universe connection in Ty West movies. When is Ty West going to make the Uno movie? I don't know.
Get Ty West to replace Lena Dunham in the Polly Pocket movie, and I would maybe
well, that's
maybe check it out.
That's Maxine.
Yeah,
it's the Polly Pocket movie. So the Innkeepers, Sam, I'll let you take over. What's the Innkeepers even about?
Okay, so the Innkeepers, I found this tagline today while I was looking this up on IMDb. It's on the poster for IMDb. A ghost story for the minimum wage. And I just feel like that perfectly encapsulates this movie. I understand. So here's the thing. I love this movie. I understand why people don't. Yeah. This movie is about 2 hotel employees who are basically stuck at this like kind of dead end hotel that isn't very, like, it's obviously not drumming up a lot of business. It's its last weekend open. They only have a few people left. And Luke, played by Pat Healy, has this like paranormal activity kind of channel where he ghost hunts and he has proof of ghosts. And Claire, played beautifully by Sarah Paxton, the MVP of this movie is Sarah Paxton. She is the overeager employee who wants to help him prove that this place is haunted before it closes. She wants to get proof of ghosts before this place closes. And that's essentially the setup of this movie. It's Clerks, but they're trying to find a ghost. And if you're not into that premise, this is not going to be the movie for you. That said, this is a movie for me. What did I say? Do you remember what I said in my Letterboxd review?
No, I saw your score and I was like, Sam is an insane person.
I said, yes. I started my Letterboxd review with this is one of the great quarter life crisis movies. And I stand by that because Sarah Paxton is 100% having a quarter life crisis. She's at this dead end job. She dropped out of college. She has no idea what she's doing. I can relate. Oh my God. And it's just, it's kind of a beautiful movie about her trying to like find not just a ghost, but kind of like find something to move forward with her life. And it ends tragically. It's not a happy ending. And I get the tonal whiplash that comes from that. But I don't know. I love this movie.
So the first time I watched this movie, I was about 30 minutes into it, and I'm like, did Ty West make a parody of like paranormal movies?
Kind of. A little bit.
And and I'm still at this is the second time I've watched the Innkeepers, and I'm still asking that question: is this movie a parody of that genre of like supernatural movies? And watching it this time, I don't think so. I don't love this movie. I don't like this movie. I think it's a bad movie. And the reason why is that question of, is this a parody or is this trying to be straight-laced? Because it fails at both for me. I love the acting. I love the characters. Again, the reason I asked that is because I'm having a ton of fun with Sarah Paxton and Pat Healy. I think they're so much fun. Of like, I kind of wish it was just even more of just this type of hangout movie, but they're ghost hunting. But instead, it throws in these really cheap jump scares, and I'm like, it pulls me out of the movie when it does that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because there's one right away at the beginning where he's setting up his blog, and it's just like this picture of this rocking chair, and it has like the very cheap like jump scare, like the one that SNL
the face
parody
that pops.
Yeah, that SNL parodied when the guy just punched the hole through the computer screen.
Yeah.
And it does that, and I'm like, Ty, you know better than this. And that's my biggest thing about it, is like, he knows better than this, and I feel like this is very much a step back for him as a filmmaker. And that goes into the other scares for the movie too. Everything feels very cheap and not there, and no repercussions for what's happening. The positives I have, Sarah Paxton she's in a different movie than what they're making.
Her scene at the dumpsters where she's trying to get the bag in.
Yeah.
Dude,
Hilarious.
I've lived that. It's so funny. Yeah. Like, it's so spot on when
her
you have a heavy garbage bag
like,
and you cannot get them into the dumpster. Like,
her reactions to like the scares and stuff. She's in a parody movie, and the rest of the movie isn't.
I don't think she's running parody though. Like, I think she's playing the character, like, she's playing the character how the character is on paper, I think. Like, I don't think this is a serious character. I even think when she reacts, like, she's over the top, but like, it's because her entire like character is very much like, she's like on pixie sticks throughout the whole thing, if that makes sense. She's the sugar-coated candy girl of the entire movie. Yeah,
and that's fine. But I never feel like she feels anything's a real danger. And then especially when you get to the end of the movie, it's like, you made the wrong choice here for me. Of like you said, there's a tonal whiplash in what happens at the end of the Innkeepers, where I'm like, I'm not on board with that.
Oh.
It doesn't fit with anything that is really set up before that. And Pat Healy kind of becomes a non-character for me in the second half of this movie. Like, you get the reveal of like, oh, I've been faking it this entire time. But why?
I mean, because most of these people do. I like, genuinely. I mean, I think that's like, I understand where you don't like this. Like, for me, it's that relationship between the two characters, the subversion of like, the guy who knows everything is actually just bullshit, and the girl who's just like, oh my God, let's go find ghosts, she's the one that actually finds them, and it does not go well for her. I like the subversion. I get why, like, it is tonally whiplashy. Like, I will 100% give you that. For me, the gut punch ending works because it just like, this is a movie that like has you kind of smiling throughout the first, like, I don't know,
Smiling when I'm not
4/5
bored.
of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't get bored in this. I like the set design, the characters, like all of it is so immaculate.
I don't even love. I don't know what it is. I don't love the set design either. I love
I love the vibe of the place.
I love the lobby, but the rest feels like a bland hotel. I don't know. I just don't feel like we get enough of like meat on why like we should care about this hotel and why it's spooky. It just feels like, oh no, this is just kind of an old hotel.
Gosh,
I don't think there's enough meat on the bone for it.
I think there's just enough. Like I really like, the hotel to me is another character in the movie, like very much like the Overlook in The Shining. And I know I'm not comparing. No, you know what? I'm going to compare this movie to The Shining. This movie is goofy The Shining, and I love it. It's The Shining for people who, it's The Shining for college dropouts working minimum wage jobs. Yeah. God, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna find common ground.
No, we're not.
I really
that's
don't.
fine.
And
that's
I'm not,
fine.
I'm not worried about that. I just, yeah, I feel like we have two completely different experiences with this movie, dude. Yeah, I love it.
I want to love this movie, and I have since the first time I watched it. The first time I went into it, I was just completely blind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is another Ty West movie I haven't seen yet. Maybe it's just because I kind of have to compare it to House of the Devil a bit, because there is a connection between the two, even though thematically they're very, very different movies. But again, whereas like someone calls House of the Devil a slow burn movie, I'm relentlessly entertained throughout that entire movie. Innkeepers, I say, is another slow burn movie, but I'm bored to tears in the movie. I'm having fun in the beginning, but then I get really bored, especially when the two characters go their separate ways, and they're like, there's points in the movie where it's like one of them's awake and one's sleeping, and they're investigating boring ghosts that do cheap jump scares, and there's no payoff to them.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And then Lena Dunham shows up as a coffee employee, and she's very annoying as a coffee employee.
That's the worst part of the movie for me. That's the reason it's not a 5-star movie, to be totally honest with you. I don't vibe with her.
No.
I just don't. I haven't in anything. So that part, yes, I'll give to you. I don't like that scene. Everything else in this movie utterly works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another terrible movie that I'm going to bash. X. No, I'm kidding. X Rules.
I was about to say, X is the other 5-star movie that we're talking about here.
Well, we'll get to that 5-star movie.
So I feel like, yeah, we flip-flop on X and Pearl. We are almost polar opposites on that.
I like both of them a lot. I like X a lot, and I love Pearl.
Yeah, and that's me. I love X and I like Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I don't think we need to go beat by beat for these two movies, though. I think everybody feels pretty fresh with both of these. They're kind of the talk of the horror scene right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And again, we don't have a whole lot of history with these movies either, because both came out within the last year, right? They've only been out a year, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was last year both of them came out. I mean, Pearl hasn't even been out for a whole year.
Yeah.
X, though, oh my God. So I will never forget going to X as soon as I could at the Cinemark. I got out of it, and like it was an instant 5 stars for me. And I remember messaging you guys like, this movie's a fucking game changer, like blah, blah, blah. This is Ty West's masterpiece. I can't believe what he's pulled off with this. I love this movie. It's my favorite horror movie of the year. It still was at the end of the year. And then it came to the State, and all of you guys were like, oh, we're all going opening night at the State. And I'm like, I can't wait for you all to see how awesome this movie is. And I don't think a single one of you rated it above 3.5 stars.
That's a good rating.
And I was like, it is. It's a very good rating. I'm like, man, I just remember like coming back to the back row after it wrapped and like just being like, what'd you guys think? And y'all were like, it's good. And I'm like, what? And even Maria, she went with me because like I had just been seeing, like I had not shut up about this movie for like a month. And the credits rolled, and I was like, "What did you think?" She's like, "It's okay." I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
this movie to me is like." I just rewatched it again this weekend for this podcast, and it's a perfect movie to me. I think it is a slasher that has so much to say about like sex, sexuality, shame, getting older, like, and how all of that intertwines. It's not just a movie about, oh, it's porn stars getting killed by two old people. Like, it is that, but it's so much deeper than that. There are so many layers to it. You've got Mia Goth in a dual performance that's just mind blowing to me because she's unrecognizable as Pearl in this movie. I don't know. Even her voice is completely different. I I love this movie. It's if you ask me on a certain day, my favorite Ty West movie flip flops between this and House of the Devil. If I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
If I'm being totally honest. Why do you think this movie is just good, not great?
It's good. It's a good movie for all the reasons you said. And it deals with a lot more than your like typical slasher movie. And again, something that's arguably my favorite part of the movie. Again, it feels like it's ripped straight from 1970 cinema.
Oh,
like
100%.
this and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, you could watch, or Hills Have Eyes, you could watch these back to back and be like, yeah, that's a perfect double
There's even
feature
like
to
some
watch these
Eaten
together.
Alive references to it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I think that's the thing I really vibe with the most. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint the one thing where I'm like, this isn't on the next level for me. It's a movie I really like, and I don't know if it's maybe a pacing issue or what it is, and I can't pinpoint it. But it's not one that I'm like, oh my, and maybe that's the thing, is that I've seen this movie before. And that's why it's not like, oh my God, that's a mind-blowing movie. It's more so for me, it's like, no, that's a really good slasher movie with a little bit extra in it than you would get in like a Friday the 13th or something like that. It has a little extra, but it's still missing something else to take it to that next level. Like a House of the Devil, where it does, for me, has that extra layer for it.
Brittany Snow doing an acoustic rendition of Fleetwood Mac's Landslide doesn't do it for you?
Everybody's incredible in this movie.
Yeah. The whole cast. Kid Cudi's insanely good in this.
He's unrecognizable in this movie.
He's so good in this movie.
I knew who he was in it, and I knew who he was, obviously. I love Kid Cudi. We grew up in like a perfect era for like being Kid Cudi fans. He is incredible in this movie. Brittany Snow was great in this movie. Even Jenna Ortega, who I give a lot of crap to, this is her best performance that
She's really good in this
movie. Good in it, really good in this.
She also has the funniest death in this movie.
Yeah.
Like her death scene made me laugh the first time I watched it in the theater. It still makes me laugh every time I watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Mia Goth is great in it, and her dual roles. I think she's better in the next movie we'll talk about, where I was like, she could be nominated for an Oscar for that one.
That I agree.
This one is a great setup and a great introduction to Pearl and Maxine.
Yeah.
Where I think we're gonna get kind of like what Pearl did for the Pearl character that's introduced here in X. She expounds upon in Pearl. I think we're going to get the same in X to Maxine.
Yeah.
I think it's a great introduction. We kind of get a baseline for who the character is, and then we're going to do a character study in Maxine. Yeah. Whereas Pearl is like great introduction to where that character eventually ends up, and then you get to see where she came from. And it's a great, deep character study. I think we're going to get that here. Yeah, there's so much to love. There's the great alligator scene, which talk about like
which one though? Is it the Brittany Snow getting eaten by the alligator, or is it the scene where Mia Goth is like swimming and there's that great overhead shot of like the gator coming across like I love that aerial shot.
Well, obviously both, because you get again something Ty West does great. Where we as the audience know there's a giant ass gator in there. They don't know that, and then when Brittany Snow gets the payoff. Again, I love gator movies. That's That's my sweet spot for animal horror.
Also, this movie. So I hate when movies needle drop "Don't Fear the Reaper" at this point. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Even like Halloween Ends doing it. I'm like, you're gonna needle drop "Don't Fear the Reaper" over the credits of this movie. Like, it was played once in a car in the first movie. You know, while two people were smoking weed. It seems like a weird needle drop for the end of your franchise, right?
Yeah. Instead of Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, that would have been a much better choice in my opinion. But whatever.
Yeah, but Halloween 2 doesn't exist, I guess, in that universe. So
Yeah,
it'd be
that's
weird
true.
to play that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. That said,
Anyway.
I still love Halloween Ends. That's not what this episode is about. But the needle drop of "Don't Fear the Reaper" and X rules. Like, the way Ty West uses it in the scene where, like, it's Pearl's first kill in the movie, where is it Martin? Is that what his name is? The character's name?
The guy that's leading the
nerdy guy.
I don't remember.
The cinematographer that's upset because
I don't know any
Jenna
characters'
Ortega,
names besides the ones that they use to name their other movies.
RJ is the character's name. I think it's because he looks like Martin Campbell,
Okay.
who is an actor from the Spider-Man movies. He's the teacher that was only in the third one for like 2 seconds.
He's in Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. So RJ, when he gets killed, trying to he tries to leave everybody there.
Yeah.
He's like, my girlfriend was in a porn. I'm gonna go.
As I've been filming it for like years now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, dude, you're out of line here.
Yeah.
And he gets in the van, he turns it on, and the headlights light up, and Pearl's just standing there, and you're like, Jesus. And he gets out and he's trying to like lead her back into the house, and she goes to kiss him. And he's just like, ew, gross. And she just shanks him right in the neck. And then the blood spatters all over the headlights. Everything's glowing red. And like, "Don't Fear the Reaper" fades out. And this like classic ballet song fades in. And you just have Pearl dancing. Like doing a weird dance all bloody and like it bathed in red light. And then as she kind of comes out of her trance, you just hear the guitar solo from "Don't Fear the Reaper" come back in slowly. And I'm just like, the sound and music editing in that scene is just next level. Just next level stuff. I love it. I love X.
What's the guy that's wearing the cowboy hat the entire time? What's his name again?
Wayne.
So, a bit of a trivia thing here.
The actor's name is Martin Henderson.
Okay.
So
do you know who was rumored to be in this movie? And he has talked about he was going to be in the movie.
Is it Matthew McConaughey?
Chris Jericho.
What?
And
he was supposed to be this role?
Yeah, he had talks to be in it, and he didn't even know which parts. But he's like, well, after watching the movie, he's like, well, there's only one part I could have played, and it's that. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that being cool. Chris Jericho. Yeah, but he couldn't because of the COVID restrictions and having to be gone that long and stuff.
I get that. For what it's worth, I think Martin Henderson is tremendous in this movie, and him and Goth have such good chemistry. Like, they're a couple, and like it could have easily been like, oh, he's just like a creepy older guy who likes this, like, but like he seems to genuinely kind of like care about her.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really like, is like all of these people, like Ty West could have gone very sleazy with this movie, but like all the like sex scenes have purpose or juxtaposed against something else.
Yeah.
In a clever way, right? And all of the characters' relationships to each other are not sleazy as much as they're just like genuine relationships with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like the van scenes, it's like these people enjoy hanging out together, or at least that's the vibe I get. And
really the only character painted of the core characters painted in a bad light is the guy who tries to ditch everyone.
Oh yeah. He's, and even then, like before that, he seems to be a pretty integral part of the group. Yeah. It's just that he obviously, like when Jenna Ortega starts getting some agency, he's like, yeah. It's like, get over it, dude. You have a girlfriend who likes to, have sex on camera, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You filmed it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting movie. I like that it plays on that double standard. I like that it kind of, I mean, I like the idea that he's okay with it until it's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And his whole thing with Martin Henderson, where he's like, she is not like the other girls. She is a good girl. And like Martin Henderson goes, Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
not in that, not in those exact words,
Yeah.
but like there's just that tension between them afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, this is saying so much. I love this. I don't know. There's
Mm-hmm.
something about this movie that just, it really clicks for me.
All right.
But
Sam, know what clicks for me?
Pearl.
The last movie that we will talk about here with Ty West. Pearl.
Yeah.
This movie, I didn't watch in theaters. I'm trying to remember why I didn't watch this one in theaters.
I missed this in theaters too,
yeah,
and I was pissed.
Why? Why did we miss it? I don't know. Did it play? It didn't play at the State, did it?
I don't think this one
that
played at the State. I think
that
we
might
were
have been
kind
the
of
reason.
hoping it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I held off on Cinemark thinking the State would get it, and then I just don't think Pearl took off the same way X did, and I think that's probably why the State didn't get it.
Interesting. I wonder what we should look at the box office for these two, because I feel like Pearl has now had a bigger fan base than X.
And maybe it's just where I was at the time. I just remember not being able to get out to Pearl in the like couple weeks that it was in theaters, you know?
And again, the kind of interesting thing is X has at the end a trailer for Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we kind of talked about this in the beginning of our discussion of like where did Ty West go after the Innkeepers? Like we didn't see anything horror related from him in a while, and all of a sudden he makes X, and then it's like, oh, by the way, in a couple months you're getting another horror movie from Ty West in the same year within like 3-4 months of each other.
Oh yeah, insanity! Like and now we're getting a third one this year. Well, hopefully this year.
Yeah, probably next year.
Probably next year at this point. I did just look it up. Quick Google search says, I don't know how accurate these numbers are. Pearl made 10.1 million. X made 15.1 million. So neither one of them really lit the box office on fire, I guess.
No.
But I think both of them were low budget enough to where it's like, I don't know.
And they shot them back to back. Same crew.
I'd consider both of these a massive success. Just critically and fan wise alone. Like, I mean, both of these movies were topping top 10 lists all over the place. I'm pretty sure I had both of them in mine. But
most people did.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of crazy not to, right?
A little bit. I think I did. I don't remember if I did. I would feel dumb if I don't.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna look.
I think I did.
I'm not gonna go look back just in case I didn't, because I don't want to feel dumb.
Yeah. So do you remember when Ari Aster was promoting Midsummer?
Yes.
And calling it Wizard of Oz
for
perverts. I think he's kind of stepped back on that, and like I was just saying words. And then Pearl comes out.
I would describe Midsommar at all.
And then Pearl comes out, and Ty West says, "What if I actually made Wizard of Oz for perverts?"
Yeah, essentially.
This movie is what if Dorothy went to Oz, came back, and had to live out the rest of her life on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that look like? And that's kind of like, that's the best way I can describe what Pearl is like, she had this taste of something else and had to go back to just being a normal human being that works on a farm and has a husband that's about to come home and lives with her parents still and has to take care of the animals.
Mm-hmm. Well, and has to take care of her, like, literally vegetative state dad.
Yeah.
Like, her dad is really gross in this movie.
Yeah. And then has these dreams and aspirations of being a famous actress and being the most famous star in the world.
Yeah.
But you can't get there. Mm-hmm. Like, what does that look like? And I think that's why I love this movie, because it is a deep character study of the character of Pearl through this Technicolor lens of 50s musicals almost.
Yeah, it does. It feels right at home in like the big Technicolor musicals of like the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tour de force performance from Mia Goth. I think it's really funny when you were talking about X and how, like, yes, there are all these good things, but there's just something. Maybe it's the pacing. Maybe it's something like it that just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
That's how Pearl is for me, where it's like, I appreciate a lot of what this movie is laying down. Like, I think Mia Goth is incredible in this movie. And I agree that her performance in this is better than either of her performances in X. I also think that's because she's getting a lot more to do in this movie.
Yeah.
She's not really sharing with an ensemble. Like, this is her movie.
Mm-hmm.
That said, like, I don't know. Like, I remember finishing it and like, it ends on such a high note that it's like it's impossible not to end it with like, oh God, this was great. You know what I mean? But like, as far as like getting there were times where I felt lulls. Right? Like, yeah. Just where certain things would drag on and I was like, okay, I kind of know where this is going. I wish we would just get there type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
But then she has like a 7-minute monologue where the camera doesn't move from her face and I'm just riveted again, you know? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And she has a more than a makeout session with a scarecrow in the middle. Like, there's some major Wizard of Oz weirdo imagery in this movie.
The scarecrow scene is so like nothing even really happens in it, but it's one of the most disturbing scenes in the movie. Like, it's
this movie has quite
feel her sanity slipping away with every dry hump. You know what I mean? Like,
and this movie kind of has a lot of those of like, man, there's just something, you know, she's going crazy and there's nothing that anyone's going to do to stop her because we know where she ends up. And it's like, again, Ty West of like, we as the audience know what's going to happen. It's just now you guys got to sit through it because you know what's going to happen to this character.
Yep. One thing that I really love about this movie is like the pig that her rich, is it her cousin? Is that who it is? It's someone who's like vaguely related to her, right?
Yeah.
Her aunt and her cousin bring over this like
Yep.
immaculate pig that like her mother's like, we're not going to accept that. Like, we don't accept charities and stuff. And it's just left out on the porch. And like throughout this, Ty West keeps coming back to this, like this roasted pig as it starts rotting out in the sun, like just totally mirroring where her mental state is at. Like, the further this pig rots, it feels like the further her brain goes down this like haywire insanity. Like, oh, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
And then the end of this, the movie with just her face is like one of the, I don't know what it is.
It's one of the best credit rolls ever.
It's terrifying.
She runs the gamut of human emotions in like 3 minutes. Like, everything. I don't know how she did it with her face. Like, I really don't. It's incredible. Like, she's crying, she's smiling, she's angry, she's just like, she's all
laughing. She's
sometimes at once.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there are times where there are 4 different emotions somehow coming out of her face. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you even reach that as an actress? You know? God, Mia Goth is incredible.
She's incredible in this movie. And again, you talked about the awards earlier. Like this, again, if a performance ever deserved an award from a horror movie, this is definitely one of them. That comes after like we've had so many in the last couple of years, from Florence Pugh and Midsommar to Toni Collette and Hereditary. Or
I'd even put Lupita from Us in there. Yeah.
Essie Davis from Babadook. Like,
yeah,
you have all these incredible performances, and it just doesn't feel like. I feel like horror fans lean into like, yeah, those are incredible, and that's why they always, every year there always seems to be one that they rally around.
Mm-hmm.
And this was definitely last year's of like, we need to rally around this, even though it's never going to happen. But
Do you
maybe
think
one of
one
these
of
years.
the
I don't know.
Do you think one of the actors in Talk to Me, just because that's been getting such good reviews, do you think this year, the horror performance of the year is going to come out of that movie?
I haven't seen. Neither one of us have seen it. It's already
No,
out.
we haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, it is already out.
And I
it's
haven't
playing
been
in
hearing.
Cinemarks, right?
Yeah, and I haven't
Yeah.
been hearing any buzz. So I don't think that's the one. I don't know what the one is this year. Honestly, I would argue Mia Goth again in Infinity Pool.
See, I haven't seen Infinity
Yeah.
Pool. I need to check that out.
The other-
I have heard good things.
I would also throw out either of the leads in Evil Dead Rise, but it's Evil Dead Rise is not going to get nominated for Oscars.
No.
Yeah.
It's not going to, but those are easily two of my favorite performances. Like, everybody in that movie is doing so well.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think there's a. I mean, you could talk about the cold open a little bit, but like when you get to the core family, there's not a bad performance in that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what this year's will be. I think there will be one.
Yeah.
But
there has to be.
Who knows what it'll be? Maybe it'll be Tobin Bell and Saw X, and everybody's like, we need to give him an award. It needs to be Tobin Bell.
If it was Tobin Bell and Saw X, I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
If anybody deserves it, it's him. Like, God, he's so good in those movies. Like, say what you will about the Saw franchise as a whole, but Tobin Bell's a national.
Oh, he's great.
treasure.
He's great in those.
Like,
yeah. I would actually kind of like that if the horror community just rallied around like Tobin Bell needs an Oscar.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Oh, God. Yeah. God, I can't wait for that movie.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any other final thoughts on Pearl? I know we didn't go into too deep of depth, but
that's okay. This was kind of just celebrating Ty West.
Yeah.
And I know we both like immediately rewatched, like very recently rewatched House of the Devil and Innkeepers.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew those were going to be maybe the ones we more like deep dived on. And yeah, like X and Pearl, you kind of have to talk about in tandem. And I feel like we did that. And I feel like we did that well. So
last one we'll throw out here, Sam. I've said my piece on it. Do you have anything to say on The Sacrament?
The Sacrament. So it's not my favorite Ty West movie. I like it. It's one of the rare found footage movies that I think is effective. I like the found footage aspect of it. I think it works in that movie. For me, it's not a pop on any time, and I think it's because like it hews so close to what really happened with the whole Jim Jones thing. It's a very hard watch, and I know it's that way by design. It's just not the one that I go for very often. But yeah, very good movie. Like I really like. I don't think Ty West misses. I really don't. Like there's not a single one of his movies that I would rate below like 3.5 stars. Well, okay. Having not seen Cabin Fever 2. The ones that I have seen, I don't think there's a single one I'd rate below 3.5. So I like that's part of the reason I picked him as an episode is just talking about Ty West in general. I just love his movies. I love his style. I love his commitment to, like, for lack of a better term, throwback vibes, because I even feel that in the Innkeepers in a sense. Where, like, I know it's set in modern times, but the way it's, like, I don't know, just the way the hotel is just feels a little bit like a throwback to an older time, you know?
Yeah. So then let's do this. How would you rank? We'll do out of 5, the top 5 Ty West movies. So we got X, Pearl, House of the Devil, Innkeepers, and The Sacrament. What's your ranking for those 5?
It's my ranking for those 5. I'm gonna say House of the Devil number 1, with X being a very close second. Then I'd go Innkeepers, Pearl, Sacrament. And I think In the Valley of Violence would probably go below Innkeepers and Pearl, but above Sacrament.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you? What's yours?
My number
yours
one
will be different, I know.
Yes, all very different. My number 1 is House of the Devil, for sure. Number 2 is Pearl.
Okay.
Number 3, I'd say X is probably number 3. Then The Sacrament, and then Innkeepers as the last one,
I respect that.
with a big gap between Sacramento. And then a big
That's
gap
fair.
between the Innkeepers and Cabin Fever 2.
Yeah, I just don't think I'm ever gonna watch that. I just don't think I'm ever
It's
gonna
not.
watch
It's
it.
just not a good movie. I don't like that. I'm not saying Innkeepers is a bad movie. I'm saying Innkeepers is not. I don't like that movie.
Yeah.
Cabin Fever 2 is a bad movie. Yeah.
I mean, anytime you hear a director wanted to take his name off of the movie, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch that then.
Yeah.
Like, I like the first Cabin Fever, but not enough to watch a sequel in which the person literally was like, no, I don't want my name on that.
Mm-hmm. All
So,
right.
yeah.
Well, that's it. People out there listening, please let us know your ranking of the 5 Ty West movies that we at least talked about on this episode. I think we're probably done talking Ty West movies for a while until Maxine comes out.
Yeah.
We've covered them all.
Silas, I don't know if you're still our one viewer that's watching, but you should totally rewatch The Innkeepers. I get that Sarah Paxton is in a really bad parody movie, but she's really good in The Innkeepers. So it's worth your watch.
Or watch a better Sarah Paxton and Pat Healy movie called Cheap Thrills.
I have not seen that. You could also watch a Sarah Paxton horror movie that I don't think it's as good as I don't even know if it's a good movie, but it's a fun movie. Shark Night 3D, available on HBO Max.
All right. Well, let's wrap up this Ty West episode.
Let's tie up this episode.
Let's tie up this episode. Well, God, Sam, where can people listen to our podcast if they're not watching live with us?
Well, if you're not watching live with us, get on it. But
get on it, pal.
If you can't, if it's not your style, I get it. You can also listen to us at Apple, Spotify, Google, and Anchor. And if you want even more content where we're not just like talking at you, but typing at you via like social media, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're going to be setting up a Threads. I keep losing the ball on that because I haven't checked my own Threads in like 2 weeks. I still have yet to jump off of the Twitter ship, but we will be on Threads.
You mean X?
Oh, God. Yeah, sure. But
Two
not
types
the good
of X on this.
But not the good X. Yeah. You can follow us on X as well as Facebook and Instagram. Just never going to say it. It's always going to be Twitter.
We're not see that little icon right there?
Yeah, we're not changing.
Yeah, we're not changing that.
Screw you, Musk.
Yeah, got him.
Sticking it to the man.
Yeah. Last thing we can plug here, you can also find all the things that we're doing with SuperCon at supercon.com and follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're on all the social medias as well. I think there is a few more horror themed things coming out of SuperCon. We also just booked another horror screening, which I don't know
if we're both really freaking excited about.
Super excited about. We're not going to say yet what it is. No. I don't know. We'll think of something. Maybe we'll do something next episode. I don't know. Yeah. We don't have anything planned yet. Maybe we need to do something.
Oh wait, I don't think we can announce that yet. Just
don't
be ready to watch another live video on Monday.
Okay.
Like a week from today when we're recording.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we can announce it. I don't know.
I don't know if we can announce that either. So I'm not going to say what it is, but just keep your Monday evening open next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might find us on streaming again on a Monday evening.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say. Yeah.
That's all we'll say.
Sam, we have nothing planned for next episode. Are we going to put ourselves on the spot or should we leave the people in mystery?
Let's leave the people in mystery and actually think about what we want to do.
And not just throw out Ty West.
Yeah. Mainly because I'm going to be gone for about a week. And so it'd be nice to actually have an easier topic.
Oh, yeah. We won't go too crazy.
I'm going to be like literally roughing it, guys. Like, I don't even think I'm going to be able to shower for 3 days. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Sam's going to be
So-
living a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll think of something, and we'll obviously share it out beforehand if there's any prep, but we'll maybe think of something fun. Or if you guys have anything you want us to talk about or do an episode on, please leave us a comment or anything on social media. Please let us know if you have any topics or ideas.
Absolutely.
All right. Sam, let me find that music and then we can get on out of here. So for Screens from the Basement, I am Casey.
And I'm Sam. Thanks for tuning in.
And sweet screams.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.